this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with day 12 of my 28-day Christmas card challenge. Today I'm going to show you two techniques. Originally I had planned to do separate videos for those, but they are rather quick, so I thought I'd just put them all both in one video, and both are going to be made with this mask that I cut for yesterday's video. I'm going to link to yesterday's video below so you can see what I did there. Yesterday was, I wouldn't call it a disaster, but I had too many gaps in the motif. So today I've chosen a different stamp. I've chosen a background stamp to have a bit more of a solid stamp to fill in this. Obviously there are some gaps here as well, but it doesn't matter for these techniques. And I thought this would make it a bit easier, because yesterday in the video I tried to stamp little snowflakes and hollies and make a motif from that. I've already mounted my mask on my black cardstock. I have already used the powder tool, but I just touched it, so I just do it again just in case. This corner keeps on coming off, but it doesn't really matter. So again, I'm using my VersaMark stamp pad, and I'm going to ink up my background stamp. Make sure your background stamp is juicy enough and not dry. So I'm going to ink this up again with my pressure tool. And again, apologies if the camera wobbles because it's attached to my desk. So I need a bit more on the top. More pressure there. It's a bit tricky to see with this one, but I think it's okay. So what I didn't tell you before, what I have got ready for this is I'm not going to use any embossing powder today, but I'm using mica powder. This is some mica powder I have bought when I wanted to use them for my fingernails. Any mica powder is fine, and you don't need a lot either. What you do is you put a bit on a brush and you just lightly go over the motif, and then you will find everywhere where you've got VersaMark, this mica powder is going to stick. I'm not bothered too much about the X's there, because you really don't use a lot. And then all you need to do, taking a different brush, I've got this fan brush, just dust off what you don't need. Just doing this off screen above the bin. I've also got this dusting cloth from my leader and go over it. Just take all excess off. You will have a bit of a remainder there, but the important thing is that the main bits are very bright. So, and then all that's left to do on this technique is just take the mask off. Careful, because we're going to use that for once more. And there you go, Christmas tree in mica powder. And as with yesterday's video, I'm going to finish this off after this video, and I'm going to add another little video at the end on how I've finished this card. So now for the second technique. I have got this bonding powder from Wow, and this is for foiling. So what we're going to do is we're going to foil over this. So I'm trying to get this done as straight as I can, obviously because I've used it a few times. Might not stick as well. It should do, because it's quality masking masking paper or masking adhesive. It does have a few wobbly bits there. As I said, if I had done it differently from the start, I would have chosen a simpler shape, maybe just a triangle for the tree, because with all these round bits it makes it more difficult. So that'll do us. Get this out of the way because I know the background stamp is rather big. So again, I'm using my powder tool. I've got a bit of excess from the mica powder there. I hope it doesn't make a difference. So for this technique, I need to stamp this with my VersaMark. I need to put the bonding powder, the embossing powder on top. Need to heat set this, and whilst it's still warm, I have already got my foil here. This is a heat transfer foil, and I need to put this down whilst it's still warm, so you have to be prepared. By the way, I did a little sample. I just stamped this snowflake image. This one is the one where I just stuck the foil down whilst it was still warm. This one was a trial run, and I thought I'd put it through my laminator, but that didn't work. I assume it just got too hot for the foil and for the bonding powder. So as I said, just stamp it up with your VersaMark. As before, press it down. Even want to do it with your fingers there a bit. I will put a little shim underneath, because I do find, just find a piece of paper, it's not stamping properly at the top there. Yeah, that's better. It's not perfect. This is the good thing about the stamping platform. You can just pop it in again. There's always a bit missing here on the edge as well. Yeah, that's much better. Down the way. So with this one, other than before, I'm going to take the mask off now. Trying not to touch the motif itself. As I said before, you can still put this back onto the release paper and reuse it. Just need some scrap paper here. And put the embossing powder over top. This has got big bits in it. I don't know why. I think it's the way, because it's bonding. It's got some adhesive in it or something like that. And as you can see, it is right messy on the edges. Should have left. Now I'll tell you what, I'll stop the filming here. I'm going to redo this and leave the mask on because I have got too much here. So this is from not trying it out beforehand. So I'm going to stop this here and then start the video again with the mask on. Yeah, and I'm back. A bit of a disaster, the other one. I put the masking tape on again, so with the masking sheet, and everything was sticky. I could not get it to not take on the embossing powder. And I think what happened was I only used my embossing buddy within this, and obviously it was still static underneath the sheet. And because I had sort of laid out the masking sheet before, I think the stickiness of it was all around it. So what I did, and I told you yesterday, you can do that as well. I just cut another mask just from normal copy paper. And this is just recycled, something recycled, and that's all you need to cut the shape. And then I inked it up again with my VersaMark, and I used my wild bonding powder. This hasn't come quite out the motif, and here as well there's a few imperfections, but to show you the technique, I'm not too bothered about this. And again, as I said with the card before, I'm going to show you afterwards how I finish these off and basically disguise the imperfections of it. So what you want to do now is you want to heat this up, and whilst it's still warm, I'm going to press this down with this side down to get the foiling. And I'm going to heat it up off screen because it will be a bit noisy, but then I'll show you what I'm doing with the foil here. So always make sure you heat up your heat tool properly. And with this, you can tell it's done when it's shiny. If it's still black matte, it's not done yet. So keep it moving about to keep it warm everywhere because it's a rather big motif. And as quickly as you can, stick this down and press it down everywhere. Just do it with your fingers. You can also go over it again just a little bit. When you peel it off, you should have the motif foiled. So there are a few imperfections, but as I said, it's handmade. And there you go. You've got a foiled Christmas tree. Obviously, you can use this foiling technique just for a background. I'll show you one I made earlier with the same background stamp, but obviously without the silhouette. Okay, so these are two different techniques you can use. Similar thing, but here you use the mica powder to finish it, and here you use your thermofoil. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and see you again tomorrow. Okay, as promised, here are my two finished cards. On both cards I have used my mask, and I went round the edges of the Christmas tree with my Artistro pens, just because I felt like there were some gaps in the stamp, so I thought this would better outline the actual tree. Then this one, the one with the mica powder, I have added different gemstones that I had in my stash, which was good for me to use up my stash because I've got so many gemstones from different projects. So I picked some green ones and some sparkly. They're a bit like a mermaidy colour. So, and I just scattered them sort of all over, as you would with your baubles on your Christmas tree. And I also had these die cuts in my stash. They are just holographic cardstock. I thought that would go best with the mica powder because it does change the light a bit. So I'm quite pleased with how this one turned out. It's not my best card ever, but it's definitely good enough to send. And this one, the one with the foiling, I decided not to do anything on the Christmas tree itself because the foiling stands for itself. but I have outlined the edges. At first I dotted it with my Tristro pens, but that was a bit hidden, and then I used my gold sparkly pen and went around the edges. You can hardly see it, but it does give a nice finish. Again, I had die cuts from my stock. I chose these gold ones, and then I just put some star sequins all around to finish this off, and I think this is quite nice actually. As I said, not the best cards ever I made. Both are good techniques, but maybe not with the masking as I had planned it, but just use them for backgrounds or smaller motifs. I hope you like this card, and yeah, maybe you want to pop in tomorrow again to see my next card in my 28-day card challenge.